In the last few videos, we've been learning about all of this. What cells? What are the microscopes, discoveries, everything. Now today we're gonna be learning about classification of cells. Now, if we have a cell, it can be classified on the basis of number, shape, size, and yeah. Okay, so these are the ones. Now, when we look at the classification based on number, we see that cells are again classified into two types, which are unicellular and multicellular. Fine. Now, unicellular. Unicellular organisms are organisms that are made up of only one cell. These are unicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms are organisms that are made up of more than one cell. Fine. So these are the two types of organisms. Now, these unicellular organisms are mostly microscopic. They are mostly microscopic. So what do you mean by that? They can be seen only through a microscope, except for egg cells, like basically egg of an animal, or let's say you can call it a bird slash reptile. All of them are visible to the naked eye. So now, multicellular organisms are like humans, animals, plants, etc. Now, if we look at by shape, we'll have to go here, shape, on the basis of shape there are many different types. So like you have a neuron, which is long, it looks like this. Okay, wait, let me just draw it like this. Can be much smaller, okay? Let me branch it like this. Because I'm really drawing this up wrong. It'll just go branch it, but then I'm not drawing it because of the lack of space. So this is our nucleus, and then over here this branches out into different parts. It's thin. And it just branches out like this. And it has more branches. I mean, like, in the middle we have all the parts like axon, dendrite, and all of that. So this is our neuron. It's the longest cell in the human body. Their fibers are from 90 to 100 centimeters. Now, after neuron, we also have red blood cells. Alright. Okay, we have red blood cells, which are biconcave. Small, 7 micrometers. So this is the sign for micrometers, which we use to measure the size of cells, diameter basically. And we have the sperm cells. They're basically the smallest. Then the largest is the egg cell, which is round, okay? Alright, so all of these are the examples. We have many as well, like tracheids and all of that, but we won't go into detail. We'll just see like a few. Then muscle cells, which are like in spindle shapes. Alright, so all of them, and we have more and more like skin cells and all of that. So then let's just not go into detail now. So these are the different shapes. So we're done with shapes. Now size. So size measured in micrometers. Okay, so the size is measured in micrometers. So we have the size is measured in micrometers and is represented by mu. I believe this is the spelling. Okay. Now, this is our size. There we go. Micrometers are basically 1 millionth of a meter. You can call them as microns. No. Okay. So, smallest mycoplasma size 0.1 to 0.5 micrometers. Largest is the ostrich cell. You also know its size of about 170 to 130 millimeters. So there we go. We have this entire thing that we learned now. After this, we have cell number and volume. No. Let's say you take an organ like okay, the kidney. Fine. Okay. You have all of the nephron. So inside you have cells which perform the function of filtration inside the kidney. Now, let's say we take a magnified view of it. Okay. So like we have many cells like this, like this, like this. Now, the volume slash the amount of space occupied by these kidney cells would be the same in almost all the organisms. Fine. Or let's say all organisms. Okay? Like it'll be almost the same. Like not actually same, but then around the same number. So if you look at an elephant, this so if you look at an elephant is the largest animal, right? So does that mean that it has large cells? No, it does not. So like an elephant does not have large cells. Instead, it has more cells. So like the number of cells is more. It's not that like its cells would also be similar in size when you compare it to its smaller animals or plants. It's just that it has more cells. That's the reason it's large. So it's not necessarily larger than the cells of tinier plants or animals. So now let's move on to our next topic. So basically we have discussed about all of this. Now we'll go to types of cells. The types of cells based on their structure. Find types of cells based on the structure. Fine. So now let's say based on this, there are two types of cells. One is prokaryotic cells, and the other one is eukaryotic cells. Now, let's say you look at this prokaryotic cell. Fine. Now I'll just draw a simple, pretty much a diagram of the prokaryotic cell. Okay. Now, this is a prokaryotic cell. Now, if you look at this prokaryotic cell, there is no nuclear. I just drew the square to indicate the nucleus. No, you don't call it the nucleus, you call it the nucleoid. I just drew it to indicate the region. No nuclear membrane. Now all of this DNA, or basically a few strands of chromatin, basically lies freely coiled out into the cytoplasmic region. So all of this is into the cytoplasmic region. Then the only organelle that you could find are ribosomes. I'll explain what are all of these terms later. So basically, if you magnify this out, it's basically this. DNA looks like this. Fine, so this is the DNA. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Fine. So this is called as DNA. And this is the cell membrane that we have. And that's all. It's completely basic. It's fine. And it lacks all the cell organelles. Lacks membrane, one cell organelles. Fine. So it lacks all the cell organelles that are present inside it. Okay. So this is our prokaryotic cell. Now examples is that if you see, they don't have plastids. Okay, so you don't have plastids. Let's say you have photosynthetic bacteria, or blue, green algal cell. When you look at this, what you're seeing is that do not contain plastids. Now, for this photosynthesis to take place, we need a thing called thylakoids. Fine. So we need a thing called thylakoids, which is basically like this. And in many upper plants, they're like stacked on top of each other. So like I'll show you. They're like this. So each of these units that is present in the stack is called thylakoid, and all of this together is called as a grana. Fine. Many of them are called grana, while a single thing is called granum. Now, thylakoids contain chlorophyll on their outer surface. Now these are present, but then due to the lack of plastids, so they are organized into some bag-like structures inside this prokaryotic cell. So like there are a few bags. Now let's zoom in a little. You can imagine all the thylakoids inside this. Okay, so like that, they're organized into all these bag-like structures. Okay, so yeah. So that is what you have in these two, protophorus and the barrier. Now we're done with it. Now let's move on to eukaryotic cells. Now eukaryotic cells are completely different. Now, like they have a well-organized structure. They have many cell organelles. Fine, like and they have pretty much everything. Okay. Alright, so then okay, so they also have a lot of, pretty much everything. Okay, so we'll explain each of them in detail, so basically you don't need to worry. Now, this may look like a really simple diagram, but then you have the nucleus, cytoplasm, then some a few small vacuoles. Let's just draw a little bit big ones, like this size, so that you can represent it. Then we have the entire. So let's just go to each. So this is your cell membrane. Alright. Now we're looking at an animal cell. Fine. So now let's just draw an advanced thing in the nucleus because you need to be advanced. Okay, fine. That's fine. Okay. Now, so this is the cell membrane. Inside we have these vacuoles, many of them. Now, this is our lysosome. Fine. Okay. Then this is our mitochondria. Let's say we just include somewhere smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Now these are the RER, or the rough endoplasmic. This is the SER, and this smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And over these we have some structures on it which are called ribosomes, which we have seen before. Then we have our cytoplasm. So yeah, it goes on. So this is our eukaryotic cell. Then if we zoom into the nucleus, we'll be discussing this in detail in either in this video or another video because this would take a long time. So let's say this is our nucleus. Fine, so it has a lot of, these are all, I'll tell you. Fine. Goodness gracious. Normally it wouldn't have this many pores, but then for a much better visualization, this is much better. So, if I imagine this like looking like this, it's like I'll draw some blue regions over here. Okay. So this is basically the nuclear envelope to which the RER is attached. Do we have an RER attached to it? Alright, so RERs are attached to this. We have the membrane as well. Inside we have a small sphere again, which is dense, which is the nucleolus. Inside we have a lot of thread-like structures. Okay, so these are called chromatin. Okay, inside the fluid, which is called as the nucleoplasm. So this entire thing is a nucleus, don't worry. Nucleus. Then no. Chromatin is basically like, for a very young cell, all of the genetic material is raw and then it's like thread, so it's not organized. Now when it gets organized, it gets formed into these things called chromosomes. They condense basically during cell division. No. So basically all of these chromosomes basically contain DNA. Now one segment of our DNA is called a gene. Right? Now this gene is the hereditary unit of life. Okay? Fine. Alright. So okay, is this fine? Yes. Now chromatin basically condenses to form chromosomes, contain all of this. Now if we dive deeper into chromosomes, we have a point where these two arms, right? Two arms, like each side. This is one arm, this is one arm. They both of them, they usually meet at a point. So meet at a point called the centromere. Fine, they meet at a point called the centromere. So this centromere, basically, let's say you have a chromosome. This position of the centromere can classify it. Now, let's say you draw this chromosome like this. A simple X. Okay, the centromere is here. Now let's say both of the arms are of almost equal in length. Now let's say both arms are almost equal in length. And the centromere is at the middle. It's called as a metacentric chromosome. Fine. Now, let's say we have it such that it's like this and it's like this. Now, let's say we have chromosome in which one arm is slightly short, other arm is slightly long than this one. Then it's called, then the centromere is kinda near the middle, but not in the middle. Then it's called as a sub-metacentric chromosome. Fine. Alright, now, if the centromeres are like, if one arm is okay, so one arm is very short, other is very long. It is called as and it's like near the end. The centromere is near the end. Fine, it is called an acrocentric chromosome. Okay, now let's say it looks like this. It looks like this, such that we have only one arm. Only one arm centromere at the tip of the chromosome. It is called as a telocentric chromosome. And so look at what we've learned. We've learned about all the classification, different types of cells. Then we've learned about classification, cell number and volume. We'll learn the types of cells based on the structure. We'll learn about prokaryotic cells, and we'll learn about eukaryotic cells from a very good diagram. Then we'll learn about the different types of chromosomes. So I believe we'll end the class or the session here. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time in the next video. Bye.